light on the bottom.
Yeah.
Tennessee Tech is Division I in everything but football.
Yep.
They are?
Yeah. So all their other sports, they're Division I. But
did they win any
football,
national championships last year?
No, but baseball did go pretty deep in. They almost made the College World Series, so that was pretty cool.
That was impressive. Really cool.
Did you guys watch the Little League World Series at all?
No, not this year. I usually do, but this year
I saw some highlights on SportsCenter. What I saw was that Hawaiian team that ended up winning, those kids were huge.
Were they?
They were so much bigger than all the rest of the kids. I don't know, but it was like...
Big kids?
Yeah, like the kid on the pitching mound was like 6'4" and, 160, and there's always
6'4"?
I don't know. They just were way bigger.
Jeez.
I do remember seeing a picture of, I don't know if it was a Hawaiian team, but somebody was like, I think it was on Barstool or something, where they were like, this kid is taller than most, like than 90% of professional baseball players, like something like that. It was crazy, some crazy stat.
And he's throwing like, I don't know, 60, 65 miles an hour,
it's
which
like equivalent to 100 and something, and then he's from 45 and a half feet or whatever it is. 40 feet. 45
I was
feet.
watching some like 30-30 sports special the other day.
Danny Almonte?
Is that the kid from
Cuba or wherever he was that cheated the system?
No, this was just like about remembering Little League Series stuff from the past. And I'm like, who is interested in that? I could care less about that. But
that's kind of cool. I mean, because there's some that are like, some guys that make it pro, which is kind of cool to see that they went to the Little League World Series. And
this one was like, it was like 4 30-something-year-old dudes working at their used car lot. Where are you now? I was just I'm not interested in that.
And I thought it was great. That was like they were reliving the...
Speaking of that, have you seen Tag yet?
Tag?
So
no,
good.
we gotta go see Tag.
It was funny. It was good.
Do you want to explain it? Why it's?
It's just based on a true story, but it's like these group of guys that have played tag for 23 years straight or something like that. But they only play in the month of May, and they all live in different cities.
So cool.
There's
Did you
some
see
like
it, Kristen?
the story. Some of the situations are real. It's like I said, based on a true story. And so, but at the end they show real clips of like,
oh wow,
the guys actually playing. So it was.
But it's like what they do at great lengths in that month. Like they live in different states and
so
stuff.
they're flying to try to.
Like applying for jobs they're not qualified for, and like showing up in meetings.
One of the guys showed up. He's like some type of doctor or something, and he shows up to be a janitor at this company that the one guy is owner of.
Right.
And the guy's like, man, this is kind of creepy. You're way overqualified for this
He's
job.
like, why are you here? And he's like,
I just
want the
need
job.
this job.
He like walks out and puts on a fake mustache, and then like slowly carts to the guy.
Just so he can tag him.
Apparently, that's one of the true
funny.
events.
That's
crazy. But yeah, so it's pretty funny.
Did you see it in the theater? Because I don't think it's like on.
It's on
iTunes.
I watched it on iTunes.
You can only buy it right now.
We bought it on
From
iTunes.
what Tasia and I saw, so we're waiting for rent.
It's so.
Oh yeah,
good.
see, I don't buy things. I wait for rent. I'm in a different financial category than you are.
The thing about the buy or the rent, like if you're gonna watch it, what happens if you want to watch it 2 or 3 times? You've already paid for it. Whereas if you rent it, it's gone.
Yeah, but what if you watch it and you hate it?
That's true. That's true. I have several of those. that I'm like, I'll never watch it again.
Because you guys already recommended it. But
my $3.99 is your $19.99. Yeah. That's the way that works.
Okay, well.
Is this the sliding scale right now?
Maybe it's free.
Maybe
Maybe you just wait 3 more months and it's free.
That's true. Or it goes to 99 cents every
Yeah,
time.
but if it goes straight to Netflix, it's probably not that great.
True. I can't find anything else to watch on Netflix. I'm struggling.
Saying is my movie's on Netflix.
I've seen your movie.
But I'm saying it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
So it's like
there's nothing good on Netflix. Netflix is terrible.
I've been watching The Office on Netflix. That's my new thing.
That show is hilarious.
It's so good.
My
Kristen
realize how
watches
good it was. Friends
over
and over again.
I had a buddy that had a Friends party on
I've
the
never
last.
really watched that show.
A Friends party.
When they can't when there's the last episode, Eddie. Yeah.
Did
Eddie
you attend?
I was not there. It was before. It's one of my friends in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So you could not attend the.
No,
How many seasons did that show go on for?
Forever.
It's a lot.
Oh, it was a lot. It's
9,
a lot of years.
10, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like 9 or 10 is always the good shows. That's about what they last. 9 or 10 is all you got.
Yeah.
There's a new series coming out. I think it's on Netflix. It's called Jack Ryan. And so the actor, I don't know his name. He played in The Office.
Yeah, it's John Krasinski or John whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the previews for what you're talking about.
He's like a good action, like kind of like
he was
more,
in 13 Hours.
13 Hours.
Yeah,
and he was good.
Yeah,
I thought this is not going to be believable because he's a goofy Office dude.
He's Jim.
Oh, okay.
What's the premise of the show?
It's a takeoff of the book series Jack Ryan, and he's like a spy.
Yeah.
Jack Ryan or Jack Reacher?
Yeah, I'm
It's
confused
Ryan.
right now.
Ryan. Jack Ryan is the character's name in the.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. Man, I don't know, man. I'm talking at my.
You're old.
Yeah.
You're not old.
My kidneys aren't working. I don't know what I'm talking
I don't
about.
know. You look a lot more healthy.
Have we talked about your kidney ailment?
We have not.
Maybe we should tell the world what Silver's been going through. Here's your relatable moment, Silver. Maybe you can help someone with this issue.
Okay, so the advice is when you're older, you cannot fitness super hard, and you have to be careful to stay hydrated. I guess that's the huge lesson.
Or
here.
you could concentrate a little more on your recovery. Maybe not.
You
say
see,
you
we
can't.
should go back to the whole story because right now this is getting a little vague. Like
back
this
up.
is.
I
You
don't
can
know how to
still
start
fitness.
this.
You can still fitness hard. You just got
Silver-
to take care of yourself.
Right.
He
You were
was
not taking
finishing
care of
with
yourself.
us last year
Right.
this time, and he was fine.
It's true, but we were both coming off knee surgery, so
Right.
Sorry, not funny.
Basically, what the kidney doctor said is, look, you're driving your car without oil, basically. So, I had on a weekend, I had a bunch of alcohol, and so that dehydrated me. And then on Monday, instead of swimming,
you're normal.
what I normally swim 500 meters at an easy pace, I swam 1,500 meters.
Getting after it.
And I went hard. And so the combination of, he said basically what I did was I did trauma to my kidneys that day. I wasn't hydrated and I went too hard. And I've been having like lingering effects that I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me.
That was months ago,
months,
right?
We thought you had like
3
weird
months.
like super bugs or
months.
bites
Yeah.
or I mean it's been strange.
You thought you got sick from my kid.
Well, there was a diagnosis in one of the blood tests that I had fist disease, which you would get from a child.
Right.
And that's what these symptoms. I've been having symptoms like joint pain and pain behind my eyes. And,
my
and the
gosh.
kidney doctor's basically, you know what rhabdo is? And I said, yes, sir, I do. And he goes, basically, your kidneys have rhabdo.
Wow.
So he basically what he said was, look, you got to pick. At this point, you can't have so much caffeine, you can't have so much alcohol that it dehydrates you and then try to fitness as hard as you really want to fitness.
Right.
So
No more fun for you, Jim.
no more fun. No more fun. That's it.
Or you could go have fun.
Right. The truth of the matter is, I'd rather fitness than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of silly because I knew all that already. I just wasn't paying attention.
Did he
to
say
that.
how long
And
he thought before you'd be?
they're going to run some
Why
other
does it? Yeah, I was
tests?
about to say, why does it keep coming back? Like you'll feel good for a while and then you'll crash again. But it could also be
He's
because
just it's lingering effects.
Yeah.
It's lingering
Gosh,
effects,
that's-
and it could take. I could be just about over it, or it could be just a bit longer.
And
So
poor guy's got poison.
I got poison ivy.
never had
And
poison
Ellie's
ivy in
just
his
laughing
life.
at him.
So I feel for
That's
you.
the first time you ever had poison ivy?
One other time. I had it one
okay.
other time.
I've never. You haven't had it either, huh?
I don't
I've
think
never
scares
had.
me.
You had it, Kristen? Yeah. Knock on wood. She's a.
Let me just rub my arm on you.
Yeah. Just like, start scooting down the table.
Cut open and then put the poison ivy in there so we can build up an immunity to
Oh,
it. That's
yeah.
what they did with smallpox.
I
you know?
wish that's the way it worked.
Oh dear.
Science.
That's what they used to do with smallpox.
Well, I'm glad that
so
you
get just
finally
a touch
know.
of it.
Just a touch.
There you
That's
go.
with everything, right? Like the flu vaccine and stuff.
Yeah.
Just give you a little bit.
But I'm saying it like they started doing that.
Right.
Oh jeez.
It was
That's
a
in that
giant. A
George
giant.
Washington book.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to build some sort of a
Immunity to
it.
Cornwallis actually in Yorktown tried to do some biological warfare like with people that had,
dear.
like typhoid or smallpox. He would just try to like let them out of the camp when they were getting sieged in Yorktown to try to do some of that.
That's messed up.
Oh, that's.
But Washington did some of the inoculation stuff where he got some of his soldiers sick. to
History
kind of
is
prevent it from
wild.
that. It's
History
crazy.
is
It's pretty
crazier
cool.
than fiction sometimes.
Crazy. It's pretty good.
Jeez, that's kind of wild. Kristen, will you look up what's feng shui by definition?
Oh,
It's just
All right, so
Okay.
what do we
What?
what do we
Looks in a
think it
room.
is?
Well,
Let's-
so we moved around things
It's
apparently,
rearranging.
and I
For
what do you mean
chi.
apparently?
apparently
Everything's moved.
Never been on live
There's no
television before.
apparently about anything. We
So
moved
this,
everything.
This table that's 10,000 pounds has been relocated into another room.
We now have
And
a conference room.
I thought
Yeah,
it
it's
was
pretty
for
awesome.
potential feng shui.
all right. It's a pseudoscience originating from China, which claims to use energy
you said
forces
Japanese.
to harmonize individuals with their
Karate Kid.
surrounding environment.
Oh, so the environment or the decorations have to match the people? Is that what we're saying?
It just feeds. It gives off
yeah.
energy, basically.
I was looking. It sent me
Depending
to
on like
maps
mirrors and
stuff.
where windows are and doorways and the whole flow of energy.
We definitely need something on that wall.
Yeah.
Because I'm not feeling any energy from that wall.
No. And this wall's got to get figured out too.
That wall's bringing me down.
That wall makes me feel sad.
Oh dear. I was saying the Karate Kid's Japanese. So you were right and I was wrong. That's what I was saying.
Now there's been an awesome kind of rearrange here at Mayhem. It's been cool. We've,
Feng Shui.
Change some stuff up.
yeah, changed it up.
Move some stuff around.
New office space.
Yeah.
Couches are in a different place.
This is so comfortable.
It is really nice. The doors will
It
close, which is cool.
This fits really great in here,
Yeah,
too.
it's. I mean, it's soundproof. Yeah, it's awesome for it in here.
That's pretty awesome.
And you can't see any of the other part of the room, so you don't really know what it looks like in here.
So it's a mystery. We might not even be in a room. You want to know the fact today? Because I don't believe this.
Today's fact?
Yeah.
Is it a fun fact?
It's,
What you got?
I mean, 3.6 cans of Spam are consumed each second. Who
That is
eats,
not
who still
true.
eats Spam?
Hawaii.
I mean, that's believable.
They eat a lot
That's
of
very
Spam in
small
Hawaii,
amount.
right?
Well, according to that chick flick, but other than that,
I've
What
never
chick
had
flick?
Spam.
50 First
so-
Dates?
I love 50 First Dates.
I've never actually had
Spam
Spam either.
But our dad used to feed us like hash and eggs or whatever. Is that like?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
in a
It's
can.
some
It's
of
like
that,
potato
yeah.
and meat.
You know what
and
my
then
dad
put some
used to
eggs
feed
in.
us when my parents were divorced?
What?
Egg sandwiches. White bread, American cheese,
Yeah.
Miracle Whip, and an egg.
Wow.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
I hate Miracle
Like
Whip for that
Miracle-
reason.
Yeah, Miracle Whip. Ooh,
I
I remember
love
the days
Miracle
of
Whip.
Miracle
Really? Yeah.
Oh, I hate
My
mayonnaise.
dad
I
always
love
put that on
mayonnaise.
our
I
sandwiches
hate
too, and it was
Miracle
like,
It's a little tangier.
little
Yeah.
sweetness to it. I don't like it.
It is a little bit sweet.
It's funny because all the divorced dads did something like that.
Yeah.
I did.
Or kids' cuisines. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we
They
did
had,
the
like,
kids'
fun
cuisines.
packaging.
Corn and-
I would love when those came around instead of the.
yes.
My kids got Uncrustables.
Oh, those are so good.
Oh,
And
those are
Go-Gurts.
good.
I thought
They're
those were
like-
kind of recent. You're
That's
like
awesome.
a hip dad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know, that was
my
just-
mom wouldn't. My mom was like, "No, I'll make you a peanut butter and jelly. I'm not
And then it's
paying
soggy,
any extra."
like by the
Yeah.
time you get to lunch.
Yep.
And I love peanut butter and jelly, but it like ruined them for me because like by the time I got there, I'm like,
Soup.
the bread is so
Yeah.
oh,
The
it just
middle-
grosses me out.
the
Gives me
middle is
chills just
wet,
thinking
just like
about
a-
it. Oh, and it's all smashed. Oh.
Ew.
My mom
Still
would make us egg salad,
Oh, that's like
which
a
is
gross thing when- I feel
delicious.
like when you're a
But
kid.
you put it in a bag and you get to lunch 2
Yeah,
hours
it's not
later and
so
it
great.
smells like.
Yeah.
So you're
yeah,
pulling
yeah,
it
the
out
kids
and
hate
then-
you too.
My
Yeah.
mom used to like when so we wouldn't get bags of chips. She would get like snack bags, but she wouldn't get the Ziploc ones. She had the ones that like folded over.
Yes. Where you like tuck it in.
Yeah.
They still,
Do they still make
them.
those? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
I went
I've
to
not
the store the
seen
other
that.
day and saw them, and I thought that same thing. I'm like, oh, not the
I
fold.
forgot about those.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So two places in my house where I don't worry about recycling, or I have Ziploc bags and I burn through those for everything.
Yeah.
And then paper towels. I use paper towels for
But those will biodegrade pretty quickly.
yeah. But those are two things that
Not
I just.
the bags.
Paper towels?
Paper towels will, but not the Ziploc
You
bags.
bet- why do you? Excuse me. Why don't you recycle those?
Why?
I don't.
Can
I
you
don't-
recycle?
Can
them?
you recycle them?
I do.
I don't
Do they
know.
go in the
I leave it
recycling?
up to the recycling machine.
You're
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
what if
you're
it
not leaving it up to a
actually
machine. You're leaving it up to a person doing.
look it up.
It's by hand.
their- yes.
Recycling's by
oh,
hand.
yeah, it's
Can you-
their community
Wait,
service.
I really actually want to go to a recycling center.
Patty, Hillary's mom.
Works
Patty-
at a recycling center?
She works at.
I'll
yeah.
be darned. I'm going on a field trip.
Yeah, you can go hang out with all the
I
juvenile
wanna-
delinquents.
I want to see how they do it. I
separate
want to know
trash.
how it works.
Okay, so you can recycle
Bottle?
them. You can't
Can.
throw them in your recycling bin.
What are we talking about now? The
Ziploc
Ziploc
bags or
Okay,
whatever. Yeah.
Right, right.
You can't just throw them in your recycling bin, but you can take them. You know how like grocery stores have like you can take like plastic bags and like put them in that bin. You can recycle them that way. Just
I'm
like
not
you
doing
can
that. I'm just being
heck no.
honest.
And
I'm not doing that.
she got mad one time because I wiped my nose and put it in
It
the
was
recycling.
so gross.
Paper towel
You
recycling.
did it every day for like a month. Who wants your boogers?
Oh.
He just blew his nose and put it in the recycling. I think he just did that to spite me.
Yeah,
oh,
for
it
sure.
was terrible.
Obviously.
Oh, it's so gross.
Well, so you were just in Portland,
Yeah.
and then but
They
while you were,
recycle a lot there.
I was gonna say when
and
you
they
were
compost,
gone, you
and
sent
they,
us a picture about.
they had
You
so
were questioning
Compost,
us.
recycling,
and
right.
trash.
Trash.
I don't know what they do with their compost. I was trying to look it up and
However,
figure it out.
Isn't usually recycling? Isn't it usually green? Was there something backwards about that? I don't remember what it was.
They were confused with something. I couldn't put
Well,
my
the
finger
compost
on
was
it.
brown, I think, and the recycling was green, wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
Although,
they have a lot of recycling options though, which is good.
honestly, since I've known you, I've sort of been guilted into doing more of that,
that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
which is
Yuck.
really the truth.
That really.
It
Have you
makes me
recycled one thing
opposite.
other than your
makes me
boogers?
opposite. I'm like, aha, Elly, take that.
That's so mean.
James Hobart used to get so mad about recycling. Remember? About not
because he
recycling.
thinks it's this fake like racket that it's a big lie.
Like conspiracy theory.
yes, he
It
thinks
costs more to recycle stuff than it does to just trash, which, hey,
I don't know. There's probably an argument out there.
there's an
for that.
argument out there, but I mean, if
Don't go
you
murder
have the
the
option,
oceans.
you should probably recycle stuff.
Right.
Wow. I'm glad we have that on tape of him
Right.
saying that.
I mean, yeah, look at landfills. That's disgusting. And
Right.
you know what? One of the craziest things, this actually came from Yvette, is people that take plastic bottles and you leave any amount of water in there and screw the cap back on, throw it in the recycling or trash. If you throw it trash, I guess recycling, they'll fix it. But trash, that water is trapped forever.
What?
And so we're losing how many
yeah.
gallons of
Oh, wow.
fresh water because people are just so
No.
empty your bottles and crush your bottle.
There you go.
I gotta look this up. I feel like my mind is blown right now.
I was going to say, this is like your podcast
this
right
is
here.
serious. So we have some serious issues. Jeez.
I felt really good the other day when I was leaving the barn and I was driving out of Rich's driveway and there was a turtle in the road. I avoided it and then I text you, remember?
Yes.
And you carried it off.
I saved it.
You saved the turtle.
His name was Turbo.
Oh, you named him. Mm-hmm. He was getting ready to head across the street.
There's
And
a
I
lot of
text her.
turtles
I'm like,
here.
there's a turtle here on the road. And she,
I've saved quite a few turtles. They get around. Except not the snapping ones, because those
We'll take it
apparently
bigger.
they eat our toes when we swim or something like that.
No, they don't.
They don't?
Have you had one of your toes eaten?
No, because
Okay.
we have
Have you
taken
ever
care of
heard-
the snapping turtle issue.
of someone having a toe eaten.
I haven't. I'm
Kristen.
sure somebody online will tell us, but
Will you see if there's any news articles related to snapping turtles eating toes?
snapping turtle attacks.
So here's my other random fact today, because I saw your 10,000 whatever thing.
That was to make fun of Tasia completely.
Well,
I don't really care about my steps.
I get that.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
So
Kristen got I'm gonna backstory and then you can fill in.
I don't
Tasia-
even know the story.
Kristen
honestly.
got Tasia a Soonto watch, the one that we have.
Oh.
And Tasia's been like, I got 10,000 steps, whatever. And so making fun of her last night, I was taking the kids for a walk. And I just said 10,000 steps, which was a complete lie. I have no idea how many steps I'd taken.
Well, so I saw that.
You
and-
bought this watch for her?
Yeah, for
Birthday
her birthday.
present.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's so sweet.
All right.
Because when we went to go run like on the track, neither of us had a watch, and we're supposed to be like checking our paces and stuff. We're like, well, I mean,
I don't have a watch.
There you go.
Well, so no sooner had saw that. No sooner did I see that as I flip open a book and I'm reading through the one you suggested, Kristen. But
Which one?
It's a bad word. F your feelings. I don't know. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
scientific thing about
Yeah.
whatever. Talks about your brain and stuff. Anyway, and they
your
were talking
HRV.
about
Oh, I
that.
gotta look this
Yeah, they were talking about how if we actually were as active as our ancestors from Africa, we moved 7 times less than they moved per day. So the suggested 10,000 steps is actually 7 times less than our ancestors moved. They moved roughly 5.4 miles per day. And we're not even close to that. I don't know.
Well,
This is
we
just
are.
random.
Yeah,
We
some
might.
days.
I wonder what that would be in miles.
What?
Well, you know what you guys do. You guys move a ton
I don't
compared
know.
to.
Ask Tasia, see if she counted her steps. You can see what
well,
she's at.
Yeah.
I think that depends if you've done a track workout and whatnot. Well, so being in Portland this last week, do you think that cities live up to their stereotypes? Just a random.
I mean,
Question.
if I knew enough about the city.
So if I say,
Nashville has
Right.
country music, yes.
so do you think a lot of people have boots and?
Not a lot
hats?
of people, but I mean
I'd say a lot.
Hey, you cannot go down to Nashville without women in boots.
I'd say
Period.
Tennessee
That's
lives
like
up to its
everywhere.
stereotype
For
without
sure.
question. Moving here from it, like, do you agree with that, Christian? You're not from Tennessee.
Sure.
I mean, accents,
That didn't
stuff
sound
like that.
You didn't sound very confident with that. That was almost like you're like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, they obviously
mean-
have that stereotype for a reason.
Right. I don't know. I guess I expected to see less of the stereotype than when you go to a city, but like, when I went
What
to Portland
stereotype did you have?
of Nashville,
Portland.
the bikes and hipsters, and there are lots of bikes and hipsters.
Well, then it lived up
But
to
they're
it.
all really like super pleasant and outdoor. Like, sorry, I shouldn't say hipsters. It looks like so you get off the plane in Portland, and I laughed out loud because it literally looks like everyone in the entire airport could walk out into the woods that very second, like without question.
Sounds awesome.
Like it looks
I'm
like they're
going.
ready to go hiking. So then I asked somebody after giggling about it. I was like, is this like typical?
Giggling about it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything,
was.
but I can just see her.
I was like, and they were like, yes, everyone here, regardless of whether or not they're going hiking. And they do. It is a plaid, like button-down shirt, those shoes that either like,
A beard.
yeah? The
Hipsters.
shoes that are like this, you
Yeah,
know,
for
like there's
sure.
holes in them, or boots. Mm-hmm. And like a
Shoes
little
that are
like
this.
you know, like they wrap around your feet, but they look like this.
Yeah, the
kind
no
of.
sole
Yeah,
kind of.
like yeah,
Like Ian shoes? Banana feet shoes? No?
Are you talking
Like
about
water
the
shoes,
like the
kinda.
sandals that are like
Yeah, but they have like
Chacos?
holes. Yes. Is that what they're
not
called?
open toed?
Not Chacos. I
No,
don't
they're
know.
but like that. Just
Yeah,
Like the middle
closed.
kids.
Kids.
Like Dre wears? No?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
No, not really. Not at all. It's
No,
like
these-
it's
those are
like a
not
reef with
kids.
more material.
Vans.
like a closed-toed sandal.
Yeah.
Kids.
They're not kids. These are Vans.
Those
These
are
are
kids, dude.
Yeah, it
These
looks
are
like a kid.
awesome.
Those are
Those are-
Vans.
yeah, but they're kids.
It looks like a kid.
those are Vans, and they're skater shoes,
Are you
and they're
gonna
epic.
skate home after this?
You
I
can't.
might.
The higher top ones you can wear. Those you.
I have like 3 pairs of these. I love
yeah,
them.
you should burn them.
No,
Okay.
that's not gonna happen.
All right.
I
Oh,
love them.
Silver's got fashion sense too.
Hey, I have to shout out to Bethany Joseph.
Okay.
She bought my Apple Watch.
Oh, nice.
Remember,
Oh.
I said, hey, I want to sell it on the podcast.
Oh, nice.
And she bought it.
Off the
That's
podcast.
perfect.
Boom. Send me
Done.
the money.
What else can we sell here?
Oh my gosh. Well, not selling, but actually like real point too. Also about Portland. So I didn't have a car and I couldn't go anywhere, and I was like just enough. Like I could run to the CrossFit gym. It was like 4 miles away, but like there were no like hours that I could actually make work. Nor could I have time to make the 8-mile round trip on foot. But
Didn't you have a bike?
no.
No, I thought you said
Bikes
you
are
had a
now
bike.
forbidden in. I don't know.
They
I'm
have,
not gonna get into
they have
it.
awesome little tram system there.
I was like, I don't know. It was not accessible. I tried various things to get
Okay.
to places, and it would have been me hiking via road, whatever.
She's trying to advertise the M30. Let her do it.
Oh,
I'm
my
not
bad.
trying
Just
to
kidding.
advertise it. It's like I love all the programs here, but it's not one that I was like really ready to like dive into and
Right.
use
It's not like
regularly.
an athlete one. You wouldn't think.
But I mean, I got to shout out to you and Tasia because
Mostly Tasia.
I'm sitting there in the woods doing these workouts, and I'm like, this is actually hard.
You're sitting there in the woods. What?
You
Yeah.
should look at the stories that she sent us.
I'll
and
send
she's
you
just
the
like
videos. I'm gonna post them.
in the woods.
Oh, there was a picture I saw of
No,
like
and I mean, I would leave like a
moss
dusty
on a tree or
yeah,
something.
I was covered in dust and dirt, but
why were you in the woods?
I'm in Portland. Why would I just do it on the side of the road?
or at the house. You
Yeah,
were
in
at?
the backyard of the house you're
I have
at.
this thing about like, don't you think it's weird when you're on trips with people that aren't
Yeah, that's
don't
true. I
like
get that.
exercise as much as you, and then it's like you become this spectacle of like
Yeah.
Right.
they're like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? And it's like there was like this balcony and like and I was like,
I
just
support
wanna-
you being in the woods, Ellie.
Yeah, I was.
So you
there's
just
a
walked
nice
out to the
street.
woods?
I did.
I know.
I
Any
jogged
bears?
this. No, I didn't even know there were bears.
I don't know. Are there? I don't know either.
I didn't see any. There's
look it up.
Portland has slugs though. They were like this
That makes
big.
sense
A lot of
because it's
places
so
have
like
slugs. We have slugs.
it's like rainy.
Are
all the
they
time,
huge?
Slugs.
This one, these are the size of a cell phone.
Really? That's a big slug. Did you pour salt on it?
I thought about it. I wouldn't murder a slug though, an innocent
Boo.
slug, but I know that they do that.
Portland's awesome. I've been there a couple times.
Yeah,
Been
it was
there
fun.
once.
Downtown.
But anyway, so I did the M30 workouts, and not that I didn't think that they weren't going to be difficult. Like I knew that they were going to be good workouts, but I mean, I left every day from like, just being out of season where we're exercising 6 hours a day to doing like this 60-minute workout. And like, I was it was awesome. Like
That's awesome.
And I'm sitting there going, man, they did a really good job with this program. Cause it's so like, obviously like in 15 minutes, someone can get 2 rounds or you can do
It's all,
30
it's all
rounds.
relative to your fitness level.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And that program's been growing too, from what you've been saying.
Yeah, it's going really well.
I really enjoyed it.
A lot of people that travel a lot, or people that like stay-at-home moms, like Hillary does some of the stuff.
Yep.
It's been good. Been really good. People that are afraid of CrossFit, kind of get them in the door and
Right.
kind of trying stuff.
Lunges and bench dips are real. So are V-ups. I forgot how like challenging those were.
The ups are really hard.
It comes back all the time to, hey, CrossFit, what you see in the CrossFit Games is not what
Right.
everybody
it's
else
not-
is doing, and there's something there for everybody.
for everybody.
You could have seen a black bear. There's 30,000 of
Ah.
them in Oregon.
And I don't remember if a bear. Do you play dead or do you climb a tree or what? I would have probably
Just kiss
panicked.
your
Show
life
dominance.
I probably would have collapsed.
Dominance. Always.
Stand up,
Any
yell.
animal other than
Really?
a grizzly bear, you're screwed.
Which one do you play dead?
I don't think you really should play dead ever. I think you should
Oh.
like get away, but still like I'm not a bear professional, so I don't really know.
We'll
But
have to investigate that.
Yeah.
I
man.
always, I mean, with a dog or anything like that, you want to show that you're the dominant one. So
Okay, that's fair.
instead of running
Glad I
away and
didn't
trying to
have to-
hide, or
Try to be big.
I don't
like we do on the bike ride when all you guys freak out when you see a dog.
It's not a freak out. It's a move.
Well, the dog is
around.
relentless.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
white
it's not a
dog.
scary dog. It's just like a herding dog, but it's like nonstop, like back and forth and back and forth. And I'm like, well, if I just get away from it, then it'll be fine.
I'm afraid that dog's going to run in front. I'm going to run it over. That's
Yeah.
what I'm afraid of.
That's what he gets.
And actually go down. Yeah, that would be
then
terrible.
Fall.
Well, speaking of like that kind of fear, I heard this this week too, and I was like, what's your biggest adrenaline rush that you've ever experienced? That's a hard question.
I have too many to name.
Yeah, I was going to say I have a lot of those.
Is it sports related? Is it like is it some crazy thing?
Anytime you compete, you have an adrenaline rush. Jumping out of an airplane. When I was a firefighter, riding on a fire truck. Too many to literally. And when I was a kid, I would just try to find stupid stuff. A little older now, stuff hurts a little bit more.
That it's funny that you just said that because I hadn't really thought about that. But bunkering up,
Oh yeah,
and going to an auto accident or something, it's a whole different kind of feeling when it's real and you know it's on.
when you hear radio traffic saying, confirmed or involved,
Oh dear.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that. That as an occupation would be a lot of adrenaline.
a lot of that going on.
Wow. So,
Jumping off the hot air balloon was the one for me that I can remember climbing out over that and being on the little platform and
that doesn't sound fun.
just that moment where you're totally good with, okay, if we die, we die. You got to be good with it now. You just got to go. You've jumped out of an airplane a ton.
Yeah.
Did your adrenaline ever calm down as you got more experience, or literally every time were you
Well,
like,
I didn't do enough jumps to get to the calm. People get to where I feel like they don't even care as much anymore.
And
But
they go to base
if you
jumping.
do a bunch of jumps in a day, then towards the end, you've given so much adrenaline and energy already that when you go up again, you're like, okay, I'm still freaking out, but not as bad.
yeah.
Right.
What
type of
about the
thing.
guy that jumped out of the plane with no parachute?
And
Into
that
the net.
That
So
is nuts.
crazy.
What kind of net? I don't understand.
A huge net that
was on
had a
Barstool.
progressive deload.
How do they know that?
And
it
the
wasn't
first
gonna
time when they
break?
tested it, the dummy went straight through the net.
So
the
what
guy-
made him go? Okay,
and he
this
can't
is a good
stay
idea.
on his stomach either. He flips over to his back, so he's blind.
Yeah, and so he just has
Like
to
in the
fall.
the
It's
last
crazy.
few. Yeah.
Wow.
That was such
He
a
has
cool
his
video.
brothers fly out or jump out with him to make sure he's
Yeah.
good, and then they pull their chutes, and he's on his
Yeah.
own.
So how many
crazy.
miles per hour are you going?
On your stomach,
Whatever
120.
terminal velocity.
Yeah, ish.
Wow.
Depends your body orientation.
Dead.
So it's
That's
a-
how fast you're going.
Yeah.
What does it matter?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's this huge net, is high. So when he hits it, it just kind of
It,
yeah. gradually slows him. But
Can you
it's-
imagine that feeling though, as you get okay, I know I'm going to hit that net, but is it going to hold?
Yeah,
Or I'm going through
seriously.
that
Or
and am I dead?
Am I going to hit this net?
Right.
Gosh.
Yeah, because you're looking up at the sky. You're like, well, hopefully it's still there behind me.
Wow.
But was it for charity, or
Jeez.
he
Oh,
just
no.
wanted to just
I can
do
pull
it?
up.
You should look that
Yeah.
up. That was
what was
crazy.
the
If it's on
kind
Barstool,
of-
it's 8 weeks old. You're never going to find it. But
I'm just wondering what the motive behind it was. He's just an
Well,
adrenaline.
I think he broke a record
Jumps
too, didn't he?
25,000 feet without parachute. That's pretty high too.
Wow.
25. What? How long?
What's the typical,
25,000
Kristen?
feet.
Holy cow.
Like
14?
13?
Yeah, 13,
Yeah,
14.
Oh
13.
gosh.
On July 30th, without a parachute or a
Right.
wingsuit on live TV.
42-year-old dude.
Wow.
Crazy.
How
Here
long
it is.
did it take him to get down?
1 minute ish. I mean, I
Oh
guess this is the 1 minute
my.
video. Yeah. It's insane. It's on Barstool.
Did
Or
you
you
ever-
can
So
look it
he's
up. What's
done
his name?
18,000 jumps. Luke
Oh,
Akins,
wow.
Luke Akins.
42.
18,000
Over the last 2.5
jumps.
decades of his skydiving and base jumping career. Let's see.
Yeah, and how did he get
For
the
2
target
years-
part down?
2 years of training, planning, and
Math,
preparation.
science.
He had a
Iron
GPS,
Man?
a communication device, and an oxygen tank.
Oh, wow.
You have to from 25,000, right?
Kristen, did you ever have anything go wrong in any of your jumps where you had to do any kind of...
No, I didn't have to deploy my reserve. I had some sketchy under canopy when I was first learning, where I was almost
Ruh-roh.
got in trouble. And then I ran into a girl on the ground once, which was really bad. I got target fixation, and there's this wide open field, and I see this girl. I'm coming in and just hit her. It was terrible.
So you were
Literally just
kind
looked
of
away right as he hit the net.
you looked
Gosh
away.
dang
I'm not
it.
playing it again.
Oh, sorry.
I looked away right as she said target fixation, and he hit the net. Crud.
Oh,
Not playing it again.
you weren't.
So you just smashed some. How fast are you
Yeah.
going?
So this is when you
under
were kind of
canopy,
swooping
20
in.
miles an hour. Not
You're swooping
yeah,
in.
not that fast. It's
Did it
kind
hurt?
of. Yeah, she's
Not happy?
okay, but she was really nice about
Did you
it.
kick her right in the
I
head?
was still a student, and I felt awful. It ruined my day, my week,
That's hilarious.
longer than that.
Well, it's not
She got a
hilarious.
little
but-
whiplash.
Oh, wow.
She was
Target
nice about it,
fixation
though?
is a real thing. She was really nice about it. Like, you have all this room. Why did you hit this one girl and this little tiny bit?
I don't want to hit her. Don't hit her. Don't hit her.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so
same with golf. Don't look at the
the
water.
net was called the Flytrap that this guy jumped into, and he had to hit. It would be a soft catch if he hit a 28 by 28 foot sweet spot at the center.
Yeah, he was a little off. Like, he hit mostly towards the center, but he was off just a touch.
The net will be suspended between the tops of 4 200-foot cranes.
Wow.
It's constructed from Spectra high-density polyethylene cord. It's twice as strong as steel, but also completely inelastic.
So why did the dummy go through?
Oh, 4 compressed air cylinders, which are connected.
And wouldn't they have to recreate the net?
Will slow him down.
I don't remember what happened. I thought I may be wrong on the
Much
dummy
in the
thing,
same
but
way you catch an egg in your hand.
so you just got to fall with it type deal.
Wow.
Oh, man.
What about
impressive.
you? What's your
Adrenaline thing?
adrenaline?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I was like thinking about sports and stuff. I'm trying to think of like any like ridiculous, crazy.
Anything fun?
I mean, I don't know. I've done a lot of stuff like like in nature and stuff, like scuba diving and night diving with sharks and
Nope, I'm out.
that sort of thing.
You swam with sharks?
At night,
Oh. I was
Watch
gonna
them
say.
eat.
you can't see them.
Yeah,
I don't
you-
mind if I can see them.
It's
Could
funny
you imagine
too.
turning around and just like seeing a shark in your face?
Like we all dove in and we have like the little glow sticks on the top of our tank, and you have your
Yeah,
buddy.
so they can see you.
Yeah, and the only thing, so you have your like reserve flashlight and your regular flashlight, and the only thing you can see is exactly where you're shining your light. So of course you and your buddy are kind of like back to back, like doing this, like looking through the darkness. So we finally make it over to this little reef, and like I go like this, and I see one of the sharks go by, and I'm like, oh dear. And then I go like this, and I see another shark go by, and I'm like, oh no. So I'm like looking out there like that, and all of a sudden you see them like, because you can see like when a shark's just chilling and checking things out is so slow. When it is ready to, like it's interested in something, it's like a quick dart, like
Okay.
especially like these reef sharks, you know?
Right.
And so all of a sudden this guy like zooms out and I'm like, oh no. So I put my flashlight back and I go like this, and then it comes back in and it is going full speed into the reef. It
Oh,
slams
geez.
into the reef and spins, and then all the fish fly out, and then they were eating them and then just like would go off. And I was like,
Nope.
What
So
were you
now-
doing in the water at night?
oh. So that's like how you get your like advanced certification. You have to go
Oh.
through like all these different
Night diving.
tasks.
And that didn't get the adrenaline pumping?
No, it
That-
did. I
was gonna
definitely
say,
was.
like,
That
wow.
was a good one. I'm trying to think of anything super fun. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking competing mostly. Cross country races, like it sounds silly, but really big cross country races used to have a lot of adrenaline for me because you're on a starting line with 100+ people. If you want to win the race, you literally have to fight people to get out. You know what I mean? Like that
I think
was
any
like
mass start like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
is that'll make you feel a little sick for a second. And you know about how hard you're about to go.
Right.
You know?
How much it's gonna hurt.
Right, and it's like in CrossFit, like you do have the same like adrenaline, but like you're in lanes, like you're not like actually physically gonna like.
Unless you're
Right.
doing an open water swim.
This is true.
Yeah, talk about
It's the same-
adrenaline dump.
Same kind. You were so great in the swim this year.
What was your strategy? Did you just kind of wait
Yeah.
and let everybody kind of go?
Yeah. We were like behind the first group anyway that we were lined up. So
You guys were at least more towards the center or like towards that first buoy. That sucked
Yeah.
for us. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Getting smushed in there.
I remember I'm watching you on the TV, and they showed Lindy a couple times, and she was visibly shaking. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if it was cold.
Water was a
the
little
water
chilly.
was cold. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tasia was the same. They were just like, wow, that does not
Like
look
they're
good.
either really nervous or it's freezing cold in there.
I'd say it was a mix of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably a happy medium. So right now, do you have any thought patterns you need to change?
Oh,
I heard
wow.
that this week, and I was like, that's interesting because like your thoughts create your reality and all that. And I'm trying to think of like thought patterns we get into that you need to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always something you could change.
Yeah.
Like what?
I have a big one. So this is kind of crazy. So in the last 10 years, I have not lived my life. I gotta figure out how to say this the right way. Based on today has to be a certain way. I've lived my life based on I'm gonna live these values. But today will be what today will be. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna make every choice and decision based on these values, and it is not written what's supposed to happen. I've gone through more stress in the last 6 weeks than I have in years, maybe in 20 years. And Kristen, my wife, came to me and was like, man, and she used Excuse my language. You need to get back to your truth. I've never seen you like this in your entire life. What's going on? And I've always lived very present. And she's like, you're not using the skills. You're not doing your thing. And I was like, all right, let's go. I gotta go walk myself back into something that's got me messed up. And one of these trips that we're going to take, we're trying to get the mayhem mindset stuff off the ground. And one of these trips we're going to take in September, I just had it written in stone. This has to be done by then. And it doesn't have to be.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily mean anything in life. There's opportunities there, but it doesn't mean that what we're doing is not going to be successful, or it is going to be successful.
Right.
And I haven't lived my life like that in years. And for some reason, I just said that had to happen. And then every choice and decision that I was making, all my interactions with the people working on the websites and building the stuff was based on that has to happen. And I became a completely kind of different person. And it was crazy to go back and go, well, what am I doing? That's not me. That's not authentic.
Right.
And why did I put all that there?
Into that.
Yeah. And when I got that figured out and kind of walked it backwards, I was like, the next day I was back to me.
But at least you can acknowledge that, you know?
Yeah.
That was crazy. I hadn't done that in years.
Let's go.
Where my brain got lost in something that I just decided that's how it had to be.
Right.
But it's those decisions, though. I mean, that can be challenging because we actually talked around that time we were having that discussion, and I said something similar to you. I was like, I know what I need to feel in purpose and to not have days where I feel like, blah, what is going on? And it just, I knew what I needed and I didn't do any of it.
Yeah.
And then I was so angry and frustrated, and I got more angry and frustrated, and I'm like, what's my deal? Like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes it's hard, like, if communicating or exercise or all of these things do that for you and you don't do that, or it was even more of like, I couldn't find ways to achieve it, and it was frustrating me that I couldn't figure it out. And I knew I was making myself feel that way. Okay, you're not always going to get to be in purpose and do the things you want to do, and they weren't happening for me that day, and I was so angry and so frustrated, and I was projecting that, and I'm like, stop. Like, it's but it's easy just to like let yourself feel bad and have a bad day, and you got to take control of that.
Like, it's the first time in a decade that my emotions were really out of control. Like, the buttons in my life were being pushed someplace else. And it was to wake up and to understand that was going on and then be like, wow, how did I get there? That I was embarrassed.
Right.
I was embarrassed and humbled and like, wow, and Kristen was really cool.
Right.
And she knew to speak kind of my language, and she did it not in a way that would make me angry, but in a way that was like, hey. I've known you 8 years now, and I'm not ever seeing you like this. And I was out of control.
Right.
I was literally out of control. And I was like, my heart rate and pulse rate and everything, and I'm
Kidneys.
Yeah.
Well, you take.
I mean, I'm sure that was not helping with it.
For the
You're not
real,
healing.
part of my health was really, I was worrying. It was that storm of health, business, all that stuff going on that put me in that space, and I forgot to aim at the truth in my life.
But isn't that a great perspective reminder, especially given what you're working so passionately on and so hard on right now, to actually go back into that and have to utilize the tools that you spent your life
just adds validity
on,
to it.
That's
cool.
I mean,
I Chip Pugh. I hadn't talked to Chip in 8 months, and I got up and I was like, I gotta find somebody to talk to. Like, I absolutely gotta have somebody who I respect, who understands me. Right. And I texted him and I was like, I need to talk to you right now. Right now. Right. Like, I'm coming to wherever you are. Right. And was sat in his office for an hour, and I was quiet. And he knows me, and he knows my language, and he just, wait a second, you say this, this, and this. And I'm like, man, I am so far off course right now. Right. But I felt like a complete idiot by the time I got done with it. But it was, oh my gosh, man, we're all human beings. If you don't have that, then how do you stay focused? How do you stay anchored to the things that you believe?
well, how long did it take you to recalibrate?
Literally when I walked, I'm like, stop. I captured my thoughts, got in control of myself, and said, where did I get off? Where did I get off track? And I went back to, that's it. I said this had to happen, and what am I doing? Yeah. I was fine immediately.
That's cool.
Immediately. I was immediately okay and back in my head, so to speak. Right. You know?
Well, and this was, I mean, I don't know, your advice on this. It's like, for instance, how do you recalibrate at or during times like so I just traveled recently, you know, and I go back and forth because I always tell people, you know what, like you want to live this awesome life, like you need to elevate some, like you have to have moments of elevation, like do things that are different, that are exciting, that you're actually going to remember. But then I often realize like I am a slave to my routine and things that make me feel in purpose because, so I went and traveled for 5 days and I'm immediately like struggling. Like it's instant. I'm like, I'm not doing the things that I do that I love so much every day, but this isn't the end of the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how do you, it's like not be a slave to your routine, be open to these things and manage your state when you fall into those other traps. Like, I mean, is it bad to crave your routine? You see what I'm saying? Like, do you guys ever experience those things? Like you travel, you do these things like, and it makes you feel like completely out of your element.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I hate traveling, but I think it's try to stay, I mean, you're not going to be able to stay in your routine, but add whatever it is that you feel like of your routine is most important. Keep that. And then when you get back, try to get back into that routine as fast as you can. And if it makes you happy, then you'll get, I mean.
That's like instant. You get back and you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have, it depends too how long you're going to be out of that routine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to be out of that routine for like 10 days and it's going to throw me off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You're getting ready to go to Europe for 10 days and that will definitely be a challenge. Environment changes things for sure.
What did you start with? The original question was there?
Do you have any thought patterns you need to change?
I don't think thought patterns. We have a situation that happened here in the last couple weeks, you know, coming off the games and some other stuff, and I had to go through and block some people on Instagram, not for them to see stuff, but that way I couldn't look at it, because that's the way it works too, is if you block that stuff, because it was just like consuming my thoughts. And so I went through and blocked it just so it's not there. Like it's not even I can't even look at it. So, I mean, it's, I guess, a little bit, I should have the control not to look at it, but there's a little forced, you know, so we'll see.
Some of that's good though. You set yourself up for success. And you don't have to, you know?
Yeah.
Any of that kind of stuff that gets me outside of just being present with the people that are here in my life right now makes it hard. Yeah. You start living in an imagination and you get distracted and it really has nothing to do with the relationships here or your kids or your family or your wife.
Oh gosh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's what I've been trying to do is just limit distractions, but it's really hard with the cell phone.
Yeah,
we talked about. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say because you just get started doing something and then your brain's like, check your phone.
And it's so hard too that like your phone is a distraction, but it's also a tool to help you, like especially now where you know, I've tried to take on more stuff here at Mayhem and do some different things. Like I need to have my phone, but I don't want to have my phone because it's also a distraction. So it's just like, man,
just
tough.
like limit your creativity. I mean, distracts you from getting done what you need to get done. And like you were just saying, takes away from the present moment. And it's just easy too to go to if you like, if it's a habit, you know? So
yeah, I'm always going back. Like I love your value of intentional. And that's the one you have to fight for. You know, you have to.
Yeah, that's a struggle for me. It's actually a negative thing.
Right.
Like
it's one of your weakness values because you're kind of a go with the flow.
Right.
But yeah, being intentional about all that and making sure you plan out ahead and you set that device to where, you know, it's not controlling you and your thoughts. That's a big freaking deal.
Oh, I mean, like I know it's like not a big quote group, but like the thing I was reading in this book the other day, it was like telling you to like, again, about like being intentional and focusing on things. And it was like, if you're going to walk. If you're going to listen, if you're going to do, and I was like, wow, that's actually pretty profound because like from the moment I wake up, like there are a couple things in my routine or whatever that I do, but like I'm always trying to listen or learn or read or do something. And I realized I'm like, when I make breakfast, I'm literally listening to something, I'm cooking, I'm praying, I'm planning my day. Like, what am I doing? You know, like in no part of any of those 7 tasks am I just doing one focused thing. And I'm trying to think like from the time I wake up to the time I leave and get even in the car, I'm doing like, holy mackerel. I need to just spend a day and try to do like one thing, one task per, I don't know if you guys are, you know, I think everyone struggles with, not struggles, but a lot of people multitask.
I'm not a multitasker.
But wow. So to me, I was
I
like,
can't listen. I don't listen very well, especially if I'm multitasking.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm trying to read something and listen, I'm just like, hold on a second.
Yeah. I was breaking all my rules too. All the things that I had designed to stay present and to start my day. I'm always talking to you about, hey, don't get on your social media, don't get on your email. Before my feet hit the floor, I was already checking email to see if the project got done for the day before. And, checking all that stuff literally before I got out of bed.
Right.
And I never do that. I don't look at any of that for an hour after my day starts. I go out and shoot the bow, sit and have coffee with my wife. My thought process is super free. I'm intentional about it. And I was breaking all those rules, because that had to be done by September. It just had to be done. And it didn't have to be done.
Right.
well, I mean, that was to your point long ago about not being reactive. And ever since we've had that conversation, I make sure not, because again, like, are you going to let someone dictate your day, or are you going to do it yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a big deal. Not waking up and reacting to what everyone else is doing or pretending to do,
But to answer your question, yeah, man, that mind, what was it you said, process? Was that how you asked the question?
Yeah. I mean, we kind of evolved from there, but thought patterns.
That thought pattern, wow. I mean, I was in a monster loop
Yeah.
because of that thought pattern.
It was just
And
saying,
you broke free. Woo!
yay!
You're back.
It works, everybody.
Well,
Mayhem mindset stuff works.
I feel like we didn't see you while a lot of that was going on either.
Yeah. Well, we've been working hard trying to get things done, but
yeah.
Book looks good.
Yeah.
it is cool.
It looks so awesome.
I'm really excited
Just a
about
lot
it.
more. It's a lot I don't know. In my head, I was thinking something smaller and whatever.
Yeah.
But this is a cool.
It's 200 pages.
Yeah.
200.
Thick.
Wow, it's sturdy.
It's thick. It's big.
There's
looks
tons
good.
of room. It's the
cool.
canvas that you work on, right?
Right.
So we'll have the online piece with the audio and the video, but the workbook is kind of the guide, and it's
When do you
places
take
for
your
to
first
write.
group?
We're supposed to have the workbooks back by September.
Don't get him all
5th.
stressed out again.
No,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Back into his old loop.
Yeah. I'm
sorry.
good to go. No, I'm fine.
Don't go to the old loop.
We're fine.
We're fine.
It's all
Everything's
fine. Jim's
fine.
fine.
Everything's fine.
Kidneys are working. No, the 5th is when the workbooks are supposed to get here. So we've got 1,000 people already.
So it's just as soon as the workbooks are here, we can start sending them out.
As soon as
right?
we're
Whoever
here.
wants to sign up.
So
We're
cool.
we'll make an announcement. I'm gonna send an announcement to the people that are in the email group. There's 1,000 people there, and there's only gonna be 50.
First
So
dibs,
I
right?
don't know how much we'll actually even announce
Wow.
because there's a bunch of people already emailing, and so we'll probably get 50 easy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about all we can do to test it out, and then we'll have to
That's
kind of open
exciting.
it up when we're done with that. But
That's
it's gonna be epic.
Really fun. So I was also listening to this thing recently about I think it was Gervais talking to Rich Roll or something. I still don't know who that
Rich
is,
Roll?
but anyway,
Yeah.
they were having an interesting
sounds like a
conversation.
rapper.
That's what I was thinking, but
Rich roll.
he doesn't sound like that. I think he's like a vegan athlete or something.
Check it out.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, they were talking about like psychological framework and how people understand the world, and they were saying, talking about like working with like all these top level athletes and people, and he was saying like it has like 3 things, and like these people, like they're optimistic, they have a locus of control, and grit. And they were saying that like there's some crazy statistic out there about 95% of high performers tend to be optimistic. So it's not like you're like this like fake like bubbly whatever. They're saying like in like a competition or something that you're failing or whatever, you can get through it, like that sort of optimism
Right.
that makes you extremely successful, which I thought was a really cool way to internalize optimism, not like the superficial, but like,
Right.
no, you just know you're going to get through it, or that you'll figure out how to get through it.
Yeah. Something good's gonna happen today.
Yeah.
Good things ahead.
That guy's vegan and an ultra athlete. He has a podcast and he's a best-selling author.
Oh, wow.
Rich Roll.
Yeah. I mean, he seemed wise. I didn't know if he really was or not.
Rich roll.
But they were also saying like same thing with like the locus of control part. Like they know that the future will work out in some way. So instead of like the people that get wrapped up and so stressed in what's happening right now and putting all that energy that, like top performers in the world are those that are like, this is going to work out. That's going to be fine. And I was like, it's another thing that's really powerful. You see people day in and day out get so wrapped up in these like menial things that a couple years from now aren't even going to matter, and that you can navigate through and just know that it's going to be fine. And to me, that was a pretty powerful statement, you know?
We used to have with my closest friends, we used to have a little saying that we said to each other all the time back when things were hard. And
This is fine.
No, that's not what we said.
We're fine.
No, we were like in a kind of a dark humor. We're going to make it today or we're not. You know? And
Yeah, that's true.
it's going to be what it's going to be. Let's go. You know? Just stop with the fear and stop with the worry and stop with all that. We're going to make it or we're not. So let's get it done. You know?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of similar to the mindset or language that I created a long time ago.
Are you guys control freaks or no? Would you all consider yourself control freaks?
You're definitely not a control freak at all.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of reading those points. I was like,
No,
no.
I don't really care. I guess in certain aspects I do, but not.
Yeah.
I'm probably more that way than I would want to admit to. Probably, I can be a perfectionist about things and have to battle with, hey, just let that be. You know.
Yeah. I'm definitely not that way. It's like I look at like my dad, who's very much a control. Like when we used to travel, like thinking about traveling younger with him gives me anxiety now because. I mean, he would have like 4 manila envelopes laid out, and he would literally go into your bags when you didn't know it and hide copies of your passport and your legal documents. So if anything happened, like you had like everything, and like if you weren't at the airport, like you're running through the airport like it's on fire, that you think the plane is leaving, and you get there and you have 3.5 hours till it takes off, and you're like, what is going on
No
here?
way. That sounds
And
awful.
I mean, now I'm like, I don't do that at all. I think I was just traumatized by it.
Yeah, like I'm around you guys all the time now, and neither of you are that way at all. And you're super comfortable to be around because even in business, you're expecting people to do a good job and handle their division of the work and make it happen. And I mean, it's good to work in that environment for sure.
And not
Kristen, are you a control freak? I haven't noticed that a bit. I don't think you are. I haven't
I don't
seen
think
it.
so.
We don't
Maybe
know
in
that
some
about you.
aspects, I don't know. Like you said, like it is like perfectionism kind of a thing. I don't
What
know,
about with your
sometimes.
diet? Is that a place where you're?
Yeah, that gives me anxiety now sometimes. not the diet, but like when I like didn't follow it when I was back home for a few weeks, and I just kind of like lost my whole pattern of doing things, and like you were talking about, I was like, well, it'd be nice if I had meditated this morning or written down some things.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, does having a routine and being diligent about things, does that make you a control freak, or does that just make you like I don't know. I'm going back and forth on all these things because it's like.
Well, when you have kids, you throw routine out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you should. People say kids do better on routine. Mine do not. So Trice is the only one that. It's like 8 o'clock at night, wants to go to bed, don't touch me, give me a bottle or a passy, and I'm out.
Yeah.
He's the only one. The other two are just...
Yeah.
Oh, I heard
else.
something interesting, actually, that kind of this, it was actually from that same conversation. They were talking about if you go watch a child, like a sports game, they were saying the people...
We haven't talked about they in a long time.
The people on the sidelines going crazy are the ones that probably never made it in their sport. It's the dude sitting there with his head down watching his kid who's probably mastered or was a professional athlete or a master of their business or whatever it is, which, I mean, I can see like being emotional and excited for your kids, but I thought that was really cool to think of, like, you know, the successful business person or professional athlete sitting there going,
I don't think my dad ever once yelled at me playing a sport. He was always just kind of like baseball. He would just sit on right by the dugout, just hang out, and then if anything, said anything at home, but it was never like, you know, why'd you do that or anything like that. It was just like, never once. I hear my dad was a good athlete, but never really saw him. I mean, he played some softball when I was a kid. That's
Right.
about it.
I worked with a lot of youth, leagues, football leagues, and then both my girls played soccer from 5 all the way to college, and so I was around a lot of that. And a lot of the times, I'm not saying all the time, a lot of times the dads that were the worst were guys that were living through their kid.
Yeah.
And were not, you would see exactly what you're talking about. An accomplished guy would just be over there quiet.
Yeah.
And you'd
I thought that was really interesting.
Find out later he had been a great soccer player or something, and the other guy's over here screaming and yelling. And
Yahoo.
Yeah.
Yahoo. So how do we manage the noise, back to what we were talking about before, to get back to like the present moment? So how do you manage the noise to get back to being present in what you're
Pretty
doing?
sure Jim just said it before that. Is you got to figure out who you are, then you got to get back to those things of what are your values, and but you got to hold yourself accountable too.
My positive values, those values in my life are my truths, and they anchor me in adversity, and they keep me grounded when I'm successful. And if those are not the filter that every choice and every decision goes through in my life, then I can get off track. And so for my life, and for what I believe, what I'm advocating for, it's to understand who you are, like Rich just said, and then connect that, what to do, and make sure you capture and manage your emotions. And if you don't know who you are, then you're lost in the matrix. You're lost in a space where your emotions...
I think what you just said, the emotions thing, I think too many people live on emotion, and you being stressed out about your being on your pattern or whatever, that's an emotion.
For sure.
And so you've got to figure out how to get rid of that.
I don't know that I was like...
I bet you were an emotional wreck the whole time.
No, I was not. I was very introspective because I was frustrated because I couldn't figure myself out. I was more like...
You couldn't work out. You were at a wedding, you didn't know anybody. You were helping out with the wedding. You couldn't go outside. You had this like big plan. You were going to go out mountain bike in the woods. Portland's outlawed bikes. You couldn't go to a CrossFit gym. Like, I could just imagine. Can you imagine her?
No, I was just honestly
freaking out, like sweating all the time. I'm surprised you still have nails.
No, this is what happens to me. So see my energy level right now as I start these journeys. And I knew, I was like, you're prepared. You're going to be fine. You're going to manage your state. It's like I do this. And then I just get quiet. And then I just sit there.
We know you were quiet all last week. The entire time last week. I was like,
for sure. The couple of 3 days up to it, you were like...
I know. I was reeling. I didn't know what to do. And this is what kills me about Tony Robbins. You know what? I love Tony.
Tony Robbins?
Tony is amazing. But this is what drives me insane. He's like, you're your own thermometer. You can manage your state. So I am sitting here telling myself, fix your state. I don't care how many freaking jumping jacks. You know how many times I ran up the steepest hill in Portland? My shins and ankles hurt so badly. And my state did not change.
Maybe running isn't the answer, Elly.
What was the answer?
Living in the moment.
Being fully present. Giving selflessly.
You guys, I'm really frustrated with this. I don't want to be one of those ninnies that can't manage their emotional state.
You ninny.
It's frustrating me. And
we only have like 5 minutes left.
No, we have a minute 30. So
we don't have time to get into this right now.
Are you going to fix it on the next one?
Yeah, I'll be happy to walk you through some stuff.
Because I have a question about, do you need to do extraordinary things to be extraordinary? Because it goes all back into your doing and being and all this stuff, which I get that.
To be extraordinary, you need to be really good at doing ordinary things.
Right. I don't think you have to do great things to be great at all. I mean, and that's causes fatigue. Emotional fatigue.
I'm emotionally fatigued right now. I thought I had it figured out.
Well, you had to bring to light my emotional state last week when I really thought I was conquering things, and apparently I looked like
pretty obvious.
The troll in
it was pretty obvious.
The troll that you are in the Trolls movie. I'm usually the other one.
Branch?
Yeah, the one that's all blue.
Yeah, Branch. No, he's green, I think. I don't know.
That was, it was...
Justin Timberlake's one, that troll.
I gotcha. I have never seen this show.
Me either.
You haven't seen
Trolls?
Trolls?
Trolls? It's all right.
Rich is the blue one, and I'm the pink one. Except, I mean, I'm not saying you're blue. You're just, you know.
And that's the end of this episode.
Froning Friends, episode
46.
46.
CrossFitMayhem.com. If you want to try out any of the programs that Elly's talking about, it's on there. Online programming.
I'm 30. Give it a try.
Mayhem Mindset.
New hats.
Almost there. New hats.
Green.
Well,
wear a green shirt this week if you want to support Rich's football team.
This will probably be a week late, so they'll probably have already lost, so it'll be bad. I'm a realist. I love Notre Dame, and I'll support them, but I'm not going to be like, they're going to win national championship this year.
Okay, wear some orange and blue then and represent the Gators.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Did you say you got new hats? You got all new hats in?
These new hats back in. Restocked.
Ready to go. And by the time this comes out, it'll be too late to sign up for What's Rich Doing? Or Train with Rich, I mean.
Train with Rich, it'll be too
late.
late.
That's this weekend.
That's this week. It's going to be great.
Yay! Be on the lookout for a new one if we do a new one.
Right on.
When we do another one.
When? Yeah. When? Yay.
All right. Peace.